Many consumers are unaware of the harsh realities associated with being an employee in the retail industry, especially one that is full of highly competitive individuals. If a customer were to take a moment to observe employee-employee interaction in a retail environment, where the organization primarily critiques their employees on the profits they generate and disregards individual merit, they may leave with a very different perspective of what it takes to be successful as an employee in the retail industry. Styles R Us is a large retail chain with several locations around the country. They encourage their employees to have one goal in mind when a customer enters one of their locations. Sell, sell, sell. The driving force behind this model creates tension within employee-employee interactions. Every sales associate who works for Styles R Us has a sales quota to achieve. The consequence of underperforming ranges from a cut in pay to being fired. Retail employees at the Springfield, Missouri location are constantly on edge with each other because as an employee you are forced to produce by any means necessary as long as it adheres to company guidelines. Employees at Styles R Us engage in what is known as emotional labor, which is the process of masking an individual's true feelings in order to meet an organization's emotional display policy, defined simply as service with a smile. The positive display of emotion through body language and vocal variation creates a positive and inviting atmosphere for the customer. This study explores the role emotional labor plays in maintaining civility within employee-employee day-to-day interactions. Specifically, this study explores how employees deal with their conflicting emotion towards other sales associates within the workplace in order to be perceived by customers as credible and professional. Sales associates who work in an environment where stress levels are high and employee-employee competition is encouraged by management have to develop various techniques that allow them to function in their emotionally charged surroundings. One study found that an employee can result to anger, which is an emotion that is often difficult to control. Many customers are not ignorant to the concept of employee-employee tension being developed over time in an individual's work environment. However, this does not mean they are going to be more understanding if they witness a negative dialogue exchanged between two sales associates. During my study, I used qualitative methods that include in-depth interviews and participant observation. Based on the collected data, three particular themes emerge: competitiveness, a physical space of anger, and management's role in reinforcing anger. When all three themes are put together, they culminate into an organizational culture built upon anger. So in my research, to answer the question, how do competitive retail sales associates participating in emotional labor negotiate employee-employee interactions at Styles R Us? The answer is rather complex. There is no denying that negative employee-employee interactions occur and will continue to occur in various organizations that perform emotional labor across the globe. What separates Styles R Us from the organizations is that negative employee-employee interactions are often encouraged either directly or indirectly within the organization. This type of atmosphere reinforces the emotion of anger, making employee-employee conflict inevitable. Verbal and nonverbal displays of anger by sales associates at Styles R Us during employee-employee interaction are not only reinforced by not being condemned by management, but as the analysis shows, employee conflict is used as a strategic tool by sales associates to meet sales requirements. This survival of the fittest mentality ultimately defines the organizational culture of anger in which sales associates of Styles R Us operate within. A new employee who enters this culture of anger has to redefine their own personal values and beliefs, and over time this will allow him or her to justify their verbal and nonverbal displays of anger during employee-employee interactions. The findings also suggest that management's hands-off approach to employee conflict encourages associates to set up their own guidelines in order to lessen the potential of a negative employee-employee interaction occurrence. Ironically, this same set of guidelines also justify negative employee-employee interactions. The pressure from management to reach sales requirements through the threat of a deduction in pay or being fired often leads to an occurrence of territorial violations, thus providing justification for both employees involved in the negative interaction. 1. A retail sales associate can justify his or her territorial violation by providing an emotional appeal of the possibility of losing his or her job. 2. A retail sales associate can justify his or her negative interaction by accusing the other sales associate of violating the guidelines. Without the involvement of management to settle any argument that occur on the sales floor, the cycle of negative interactions receive positive reinforcement, and the cycle of future negative employee-employee interactions are inevitably going to continue. The analysis also shows that management at Styles R Us is aware of the continued negative interactions among employees and possibly encourages these interactions because negative interactions breed competition. Styles R Us, like all businesses, have to turn a profit to survive. And although their methods in reaching this goal may not be ideal for those sales associates, it would not make sense to change the organizational culture of anger that has kept them in business for all these years. It seems the only way to avoid negative employee-employee interactions between retail sales associates is by either adapting to the organizational culture of anger or deciding to find another organizational culture that better suits an employee's own personal values and beliefs.